What is going on, guys? And today we are back with a Kumbahkarna support build for the end of Season 4. This is going to be a rather interesting build. You're going to be selling some items later on, but we're going to go ahead and jump right into it. First is his abilities, if you didn't know what they are. And the reason I'm showing you this is I want you to pay attention to his 2 and his 3. His 2 and his 3 both stun enemies. Well, his 3, I guess, is a mez, but technically it's stun. It's a CC, which is what matters. So he has 2 forms of CC. I guess his ultimate counts as a CC as well. So he really has 3 forms of CC, which is really nice. And I'll explain the reason I went over that in a little bit. First is the starter items. Watcher's Gift, Lono's Mask. That's not going to change. And you also want to get Traveler's Shoes. Traveler's Shoes is going to be the standard for supports. It just allows you to run away when you're not in combat. And because Kumba does have a dash, he has a Mesmerize, and then he can turn around and stun, and then he can dash with his ult if he needs to. You have a lot of potential to get away, and then you pair it with Traveler's Shoes to give more movement speed. No one's going to be able to catch you. And you have Kumba's passive if you were to go down for some reason, so really good item. Next item is the reason I showed you his abilities, and that is, where'd it go? Stoneham Binding. It's only 1,700 gold, which is really cheap. Gives you some magical power, which is good for Kumba, because Kumba can put the hurts on. It's very deceiving, especially if you hit someone with a minion. Gives you both protections, but whenever you hit someone with a crowd control, you place a buff on all allies, giving them 10 penetration within 70 units of you. So, whenever you hit someone with his 2, which is that, which will stun him out, or your 3, which is just going to put him to sleep, Stoneham Binding is going to activate and give your allies protections near you, which is really, really good. Next item you want to get is Hide of the Urchin. I usually don't get this on supports, but I like it on Kumba. The reason I like it on Kumba, it might just be a me thing, but I never die with Kumba. Kumba's a really hard god to kill, especially when you're playing in casuals or ranked or something like that. So if you can, I don't want to say snowball, but if you can just stay alive throughout the game and are able to get a bunch of assists at this point, Hide of the Urchin is just really good to have. Obviously, it gives you 30 protections, both physical and magical, and once you get your 10 stacks, you'll have 60 magical protection and 60 physical protection, 250 health, 250 mana. Just a really good item to have. After that, you want to get the standard support item for Season 4 right now, and that's Jade Emperor's Crown. I usually don't like to get it this late, but because we did get Stoneham Binding, which I don't get on all supports, and Hide of the Urchin, which I don't get a lot, I had to get Jade's a little bit later. But Jade Emperor's Crown is going to give you some power, it's going to give you some protection, it's going to give you some health, and it's also going to reduce the enemy god's power, which is always a good thing to have. Obviously, at some point, you're going to be selling both your starter items, and I recommend selling Stoneham Binding eventually. Not at this point. You don't want to just get these items and then sell it. You want to sell everything at the last second possible when you don't have a spot open anymore and you just need to get rid of it. So you're going to be selling those at some point. And to finish everything off, first magical item, for magical defense I should say, that we're going to be getting is Shogun's Gosari. It's another really good item for supports right now. It's going to give you some protection, some mana per 5, which we don't have yet, which is going to be important. A little bit of cooldown, again, which we don't have yet, and it's going to be important. Some crowd control reduction, which we don't have yet, and is going to be important. And also, whenever you are in range with an ally, they get 25% additional attack speed. So if you have a Soul on your team, a Freya, a Izanami, Kukulin, Amaterasu, even a Shock. If you have a Shock in your team, giving him an extra 25% just so he can get his passive up and not use mana, it was really good. I never thought about pairing a Shogun's next to a Shock because sometimes Shocks will get like an Xe just to get a little bit of attack speed, but shoot, Shogun's Gosari makes it so they don't have to get anything. Really good item right there. Last 2 items you want to get are going to be multiple defense items. First one being Spirit Robe. It's pretty common. It gives you protections again, 40 physical, 40 magical. Gives you cooldown, it gives you crowd control. So the key here is, right now we got 20% cooldown reduction and 40% crowd control reduction with these 2 items, which is absolutely amazing. Top it all off with a Mantle of Discord. You now have 30% cooldown reduction, which is really, really good for Kumba, as well as 40% crowd control reduction, which you can't go wrong with. You also cap out at very even stats at 208 and 203 magical and physical defense. And you're going to have a bunch of health from this as well. Obviously, once you get your stacks up and you have Urchin and stuff like that. So You're not going to have the most health in the world. As you can see, the only health items we have are Urchin and Jade. But that's not the point of this build. The point of this build is just to win, and this build works wonders with Kumbahkarna, especially that Stoneham Binding early. It's going to be really, really nasty if you can hit your stuns and your mesmerizes. Relics, pretty standard. I would say first one, go ahead and get Shell. If you're ahead and you guys are kind of snowballing, get Blink for your second relic just to blink Mesmerize. Because if you blink in and you hit your 3, which I'm not going to do it because I want to be able to sell it, but if you blink in and get a Mez on like 3 or 4 people, oh man, that team fight, your team's going to love you for that. So if you're snowballing, go ahead and get Blink second maybe, but generally I would just get a Magic Shell, Heavenly Wings, a Magic Shell, Horrific Emblem, a Heavenly Wings, Cursed Onk, something like that. The general support relics that you'll see a lot of supports get. These 4. If you're feeling spicy, you could even get a Meditation Cloak, or if you're a noob and you want a little bit of help earlier on, but if I had to pick 2, I would say Magic Shell and Heavenly Wings are going to be the go-to ones. That is going to wrap it up, guys. If you enjoyed it, be sure to drop a like for more content like this. And until next time, my mouse died. There we go. Peace.